Julie and Eric.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Kara. And Andrew. Okay. Melina.
Yep.
And Matt. Okay. Bo. B-E-A-U.
Yep.
And Katie. Okay. And then Liza and Alan. Okay. And there we have Jesse and Matt. Okay, good. So we are missing Monica and Lindsay and okay, Monica and Chad and Lindsay at the end. Okay, I'm gonna just let them trickle in. I'm scheduling my sister. She's watching the class. So she's all the way in New York. So this is Annie. She is due on May 28th with a girl. This is her first. So James is traveling across country. Hi guys. So, gosh, I'm starting it. I watched the video that I posted last week of the class, and I am so sorry with how much I say I will try not to do that. It's ridiculous. When you watch a video of yourself, you really learn. Okay, I want to know what came up for you guys last week, what you talked about, and what you remembered. Does anyone want to share anything? It's a lot. Just one of those things would be fine.
It's good to learn about the process of the beginning.
Good.
Yeah.
That was helpful?
Very helpful.
Okay, good.
Let's elaborate on that. It was, you talked about what she wanted.
What she wanted. Had you guys talked about that before?
Well, it's because the families and all that dynamic, because it's, you know, I want that done now so we don't have to worry about should my parents be there, should your parents be there, who's going to be there.
Sure. Yeah, that's really good to be clear about.
The words component of that whole program is kind of interesting.
The what?
Like you said, what words did you heard people describe, you know, the birthing process?
Yes. Yes. Good. Good. I'm glad those worksheets were helpful. Anything else that stuck out for you guys? I like just for my own feedback.
One thing that I keep thinking about is how you talked about like setting up the birth room and like how you said it's your baby's where your baby's gonna take their first breath.
Yeah.
So I keep thinking about like making playlists and all this stuff like that for music.
Great.
So I keep thinking about that.
I have a couple of those little lectures that I think make it more real. And I think that's one of the things that I can remind you guys that it's not just an automatic thing that you're doing. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today to try and remind you that this is not, we're not just walking into a room to have a baby. This is where your baby will experience their first light, their first sounds without being muffled. And I think that's really, really important, and I don't think people remember that. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, we'll dive in. Hi, good timing.
guys, sorry.
Jess said we were going to dive in. Okay. So there is tea up here for anyone who wants, and cups up there. You're in the front row now. Actually, I'm just going to put the tea out. I don't know what Anna made. I don't know if they're the same as last week or not, but help yourself. What's cool about this class compared to my last class is it was getting darker and darker as we got. By the time you guys are done with this class, there will be some daylight when you walk out. Okay, so tonight we're going to cover interventions and procedures. The way this class is going to go, we don't have any videos, any DVDs. It's just me standing up here and presenting a lot of information to you. So if you need a break or if you have questions, interrupt at any time, go to the bathroom, and remember it's right around the corner, and anything you need, because it is a lot of information. The first time I ever taught this childbirth class, the feedback I got after this first class was, you scared me when I presented this information. So I really tried to revamp it in a way that's not scary, but still presents the information. Because, as we know, there can be a lot of interventions that happen during childbirth. And we want to know what we have control over and what we don't. I think that's the most effective information I can give you is if you know what you can have control over and what you need to just let go. So we are going to first talk about what an intervention is and how it would be used. An intervention is any activity that introduces a different, I'm trying to say the definition without using the word. Teachers, right, Mr. Kohler? An intervention will change the natural process of something. And sometimes the natural process needs to be changed if things aren't moving along the way they should. So interventions can be really great, but they can also cause what we call the cascade of interventions, where you get one and then you get the other because the first one you got was medically necessary, but then it stalls out the labor, so then you need to get Pitocin. So I'm going to talk about all of that. And I want you to know that, I want you to be knowledgeable about your options, and I highlight this, when you have the options. Because this is one of those classes where you might not need to know all this stuff because it's out of your hands. So your provider has certain reasons why they use certain things. So Dr. Bowman and Allmeyer might use Cytotec, whereas Dr. Peterson might use Zervidel. Same outcome, different medications, and I'll tell you why, so that you can be, again, that informed consumer. And we're going to start with the augmentation. So augmentation means enhancing labor, getting things going. Now, can anyone tell me why you might want to get things going from zero?
If you're beyond, if you're late.
If you're late, exactly, yes. Most of our providers will let you go 40 weeks. Monica's going to have a different situation because she's having twins. But if you want, basically what happens, your placenta starts to deteriorate after 40 weeks. If your placenta deteriorates, then it doesn't get the nourishment to the baby the way it needs to. Things need to get moving. And doctors will have different philosophies. Some will let you go to 42 weeks, or they'll say they'll let you go to 42 weeks, and then at about 41, they're starting to say, you know, maybe we should try this, and we probably should try this, and we probably need to get the baby out. They don't usually let you go to 42 weeks. Midwives, more often than medical providers, because of that deterioration of the placenta. What's another reason why we might need to get things going, augmentation-wise?
High blood pressure.
High blood pressure, absolutely. Some sort of medical intervention, or some sort of medical issue, gestational diabetes, high blood pressure, anything like that, absolutely. There is a rare but serious disease where your kidneys start getting really toxic. And that doesn't happen very often, but if that happens, you need to get the baby out, because the pregnancy is causing that. Absolutely. I'm trying to think of any other reasons. Those are the two babies, okay? So we're going to start talking about what the augmentation options are. You're going into your 40-week appointment, because starting at 36 weeks, you guys get to, it's like this crossroads where you get to start going every single week instead of every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks. I got that every week, Mark. So starting at 36 weeks, you go to the doctors every week. So at 40, if you make it that far, they will start talking about, yeah, we probably want to start getting this baby ready to come out. And at that point, you can say, can we just have a little bit more time? Because I learned in childbirth class that there are some methods that I can do at home to start working on getting this baby to come out without having an intervention. Doctor should say at that point, sure, give it a try. So those methods are, okay, here we go. Okay, sex, semen, ripens the cervix. So sex is the first at-home intervention you can do that's natural, that could potentially get labor going. And the way I like to look at it is, if you all have sex right now when you go home, you would be so lucky. No, I'm just kidding. You would not get anything going because it's like low-hanging fruit. It is not going to happen unless the body is ready for it to go. But if it just needs to be plucked a little bit, that's how these interventions work. So semen ripens the cervix. And a female orgasm will produce that oxytocin that's needed to get things going. So if you are at 40 weeks or even 39, you can do that and have a chance that that'll get labor going. Okay? That's one. Probably the least the least effective on our list of effective, okay? And like I said last week, only do that if you're sure your water has not broken. If you're feeling like there's a chance that your water is broken, don't do that. It's going to introduce all kinds of stuff you don't want in there.
What about the mucus plug?
If the mucus plug is still there, is that what you mean?
Or if it's gone?
If it's gone, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Because the mucus plug is there sort of for the duration of pregnancy, but you can lose the mucus plug 2 weeks before you have your baby,
Oh, okay.
and you're still just fine, as long as the bag of waters isn't there.
Okay.
But that's a good question. Nipple stimulation, my next favorite. Okay, so I didn't mean it that way. My next favorite as far as effectiveness. You can use manual or breast pump. My suggestion is 30 minutes 3 times a day. So again, you're at 39 weeks. You want to see if you can get things going. You ask your doctor, can we try some nipple stimulation at home? Most doctors will say, sure, go ahead. Because to be honest, a lot of doctors don't necessarily totally buy into these things because they've seen it work in other ways too many times. They don't see this always work. I think it's worth trying if we're talking about a cascade of interventions versus let's just get on the breast pump. So that looks like 3 times a day you're on the breast pump and you just see if that gets things going. That releases that oxytocin, and sometimes you can, even if you're not, you can start a contraction going just from that. Now to keep it going is a little bit hard.